You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Michael, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
4, 3, 2, 1. Hi, this is illustrious Michael K. Easton.
I am Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
Seth.
The darkness has swallowed Seth.
You're really irritating him with that lighting setup over there.
Yeah.
He's bragging about, oh, I got new lighting, I got a new lamp, and then, man, he's bragging on yours.
Like, I'm so bright and, like, I feel like I'm, like, HD, and he's over there being, like, what is it, UHF or something?
I'm 16 by 9. What are you?
3 by 4.
Maybe he's a little down in the dumps for being part of a podcast that lost the voting twice running.
I'm not at all.
Podcast.
I am the least disappointed person about that. I don't care whatsoever.
Hey, you want to? So we want to figure out who our enemies are, who beat us.
Sure.
I voted.
Is that important to you? To who we should hate?
I'm happy for them.
All right, so this was the Clutch MOV, the literary magazine for the region we call home. Did best of the area, best restaurant, best theater, best kids, day out, whatever. They did best podcast. We qualified. That was cool. Like, someone nominated us. We thank whoever did that. That was cool of you. So we were on the ballot. It's an honor just to be nominated. But okay, we'll get a load of these winners, okay? Number 1, the MOV Public Forum. All right. This is a local podcast run by concerned citizens to engage participation in civic life in the Mid-Ohio Valley. All right. So no mention of Riverdale.
Yeah.
No mention, like, what are they even doing with their lives?
No Fonzie, most Welcome Back Kotter mashups.
Nothing.
That's the problem.
No $6 million man Star Wars theories.
Their fans participate. Ours don't.
Oh,
who is more civically engaged than we are? Come on.
Yeah.
All right, so the number 2 vote getter, the Resilient Purpose podcast. So guess what they do? They are dedicated to long-form discussions on mental health and addiction.
Oh, my God.
They're out trying to help people. They're trying to be a positive force in the area. Come on.
What is more positive than Ka-Pow? Ka-Pow.
Ka-Pow.
And how many times has one of them done a Mario impression? I mean, probably none.
I bet they haven't even mentioned a mustache ride on their podcast.
All right, and the number 3 vote getter, My Town Hustle. An in-depth look at the people, policies, and processes that make small towns work. So it's about the economics of small town living and businesses and a lot of yada, yada, yada.
Oh, I bet that people just love that. Oh.
Are all 3 of these the same person? Because it all sounds like the exact same thing.
Yes. It's all about our town, how it works, and the depression that comes along with that.
And trying to fix it. Well, our vow to you is we're not out to fix anything.
Mm-mm.
We are fine.
If you're listening to our last episode, we're out actually to depress you.
That's true.
We enjoy sulking in our depression.
So, guys, we'll never, no matter how many times they do this vote, we will never win. So, I'm happy with our underdog status.
Right. I'm a little disappointed in the fact that, like, we had friends that have podcasts in this area that were also nominated. Some were, some weren't. But, like, nobody
would have liked to have seen one of them rather than whatever this other
I would have.
It's not realistic to me that these podcasts are podcasts that people listen to.
No.
People listen to podcasts of things they enjoy normally.
Right.
That are like entertainment and not like deep discussions or whatever. Maybe not. I'm sure there's something for everybody.
I don't need
I
to
don't
know
care.
the
I've never
inner
been in
workings
this-
of Marietta, Ohio.
Been in this for anything. So
Well, is this not the problem with the Oscars? All the movies that win Oscars are the movies nobody goes and sees. So the fan favorites, the beloved things like us, they don't get the rewards. So.
Yeah, I'd even looked up, and most of these so-called award-winning podcasts of the Mid-Ohio Valley, they didn't have over 20 episodes. Here we are sitting at 285? We're,
as we said, our quantity is going to blast their quality out of the water.
That's right.
So, welcome to our new enemies. Congratulations to joining our list of people on our bad side. And we'll see you again when we do more voting.
2 years. We could be 6 years in the running of not winning this damn thing, so.
I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that was all started by a mouse. This is where the early planning is taking place for our so-called Disney World project.
Mary Poppins, practically perfect in every way.
As you can see on this map, we have a perfect location in Florida.
Hello, I'm Michael Eisner.
We call it Epcot.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
Ohana means family. Family means nobody gets left behind.
We know what we hope to accomplish. And believe me, it's the most exciting and challenging assignment we've ever tackled at Walt Disney Production.
Fun imagination, huh?
Anyways, guys, I brought some stuff this week. This is first Friday of June. And this week, out in California, Disneyland to be specific, Avengers Campus opened. Did you guys have any, did you see any feedback? Did you watch any of the opening ceremony?
I saw the pictures that Rob Liefeld posted that he was just having a heck of a good time.
It appeared that way.
Did he get a special invite, or did he have to pay for a ticket?
I feel like he got a VIP pass. Because, right now he's doing the 30 for 30 Deadpool covers.
So this is the first land dedicated to the MCU as far as Disney parks goes. Universal, we've talked in the past about, they've got the old 90s comic book versions over in the Orlando parks there. But this is the first based on all the movies, guys, that we love. And it wasn't spared from some criticism from the Disney community. Some people were really excited about it, had a great time with it, got to go, maybe they got in on the media pass or the first day open. But I'm going to run down, I'm going to let you know a few of the things that opened on the Avengers campus, okay? So we've already mentioned, we talked in the past about the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, the Drop Tower ride that had been basically redone from the old Tower of Terror a few years ago. It's been open part of for a few years now. That's been made part of the new Avengers campus, okay? So it sits right adjacent. That ride everybody has experienced with Guardians of the Galaxy before, if you've been out to Disneyland Resort. So with this, they've added on, much clamored for by the fans, things like Pim's Test Kitchen, where you can go in and get a really big pretzel. or some special.
You can't shrink yourself down.
You can get you can get some real special cocktails served in scientific beakers. So that's
scientific beakers.
Yes, scientific.
Is there some
beakers.
tequila shots in there?
Not like the Muppet beaker.
I work in a lab,
beakers.
and that's what we call them.
Scientific beakers.
Scientific beakers.
Yes, not to be confused with the Muppet.
Yeah.
There's also a shawarma stand, guys. Shawarma from that movie, Avengers.
I remember that movie.
And then there's a facility they're calling Spider-Man Web. WEB stands for Worldwide Engineer Brigade.
Oh my.
And this features that a little Spider-Man stunt show. Okay, guy dresses up like Spider-Man, goes up above you and flips around on some boxes and does some backflips and some cartwheels, and then runs back behind after all that's done. And we see that we've all seen the animatronic robot that they launch through the air to make, it looks like Spider-Man's flying, webbing through the air. That happens, and he crawls down a building on a wire and then does a fan meet and greet for a photo op. So there's that.
The robot does all that?
No. The robot only flies through the air. The poor guy in the suit has to do the rest.
And does the robot fly through the air on a wing and a prayer?
It does. Then also at Webb, there's a new Web Slingers ride attraction. Okay, so we did get a new ride. It is it's a 3D screen based attraction. You get the goggles, and you do this. You swing your arms, make that motion to make the shoot the spider bots.
Hey, what's going on with the webs?
You gotta shoot Carla Gugino. You gotta shoot her. You gotta keep telling her how great she is.
It's like a rocketopus. You leave her alone. She's a good old lady.
Speaking of Mario, in addition to this right now, you can just make that motion with your hands all day, right? We can all
Who
do
left
that.
all these webs everywhere? I gotta clean this toilet up.
You can also go to the gift shop next door, and for $70,
award-losing podcast.
Yes, true. We wonder why we didn't win that damn thing. For $70, guys, you can buy your own web slingers to use on the ride. And you can get Spider-Man, you can get Ghost Spider, or you can buy the repulsors that will do the same thing. You can get Iron Man or Rescue from the movies. So it's only $70, and you can use them on the rides. In addition to that, we get a lot of character appearances. There's a Doctor Strange kind of show where he does some like magic and does a lot of moving his arm around and conjuring on a video board the little portal thing. That's it. It's a lot of hand motions. And then there's from Wakanda. There's the Dora Milaje.
It's a magical place.
Yes, they will come and they do a little dance fighty thing.
You gotta do this.
Yeah, they do that. And then also there's a. It is a little Macarena.
You gotta do the Macarena.
Hey, Wakanda.
In addition to that, guys, Black Panther and Black Widow also fight the Taskmaster.
Now we're listening.
In a little show, there, up above on the rooftops of one of the buildings. So all of that. There's a lot of Instagram picture spots. It's very 2021 Disney has been kind of the ongoing criticism of it. Definitely made, not for the traditional Disney fans. I haven't, of course, experienced this because I'm in Ohio. They're in California. But I have experienced a Disney, you know, a very all-inclusive land with Toy Story Land in Florida, and as well as Galaxy's Edge, East Coast, Batu, and those I got to say are pretty awesome. So I'm hoping.
Does Florida have this in the works?
No, Florida does not. This is
only going to be West Coast.
This is only West Coast, because of that contract from the
West Coast Avengers.
Yeah,
West Coast, the best coast.
The old supervillain Ike Perlmutter, when he signed away we've talked about this back in the 90s.
Jerk. I hate that. Oh, drop it.
Perlmutter.
I hate that guy. He screwed us up. So I can't go to Disney World and do this stuff.
No, you got to go to California, because it's got to be
go to California. Go to Disney
on the other side of the Mississippi to get the Marvel stuff. Now, Disney World, East Coast, Florida is going to get a new Guardians roller coaster. So we do have that coming, but we're not going to get the whole land. So that's what happened.
So this may actually get you out there. Like, would this get you out to California?
This would not in itself get me out to California.
Okay, I just wonder what it is. I felt like this is the closest we've got to something, a big enough attraction that
the
it's like it's time to go. It's time to go.
No,
this still.
I definitely have the motivation to get out to California. That's on the list. I just haven't made it quite yet. So I was chatting before the recording tonight. I was chatting with a silver level patron, Justin Lowe, about some of this stuff. In the last couple of days, we've been talking back and forth about some ongoing things in Disney World and Disneyland.
That joke never gets old.
So maybe someday he'll get there, but for now, we were talking about, he'd watched some of the same videos I did, and I was under the impression he thought it looked pretty cool, which I'm sure if I went out there and got to experience it, I would have a higher opinion of it right now, but yeah,
you have to like downplay it because you know you're not going. So
that's
you can't think it's amazing, or then you're gonna feel bad.
Yeah,
right.
It's like, I'm sure it's no good anyway.
So.
Yeah,
that's a lot of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
A few people in some superhero costumes. They go to Times Square and smell the urine and see that.
Exactly.
There's no Elmo in California.
So that's what's happening at Disneyland, guys. Avengers Campus open now. Go see it.
Yeah, I still want to get down there to go to Batu. So
yeah, definitely. I think
I'd like to take Nick and go sometime.
You definitely need to. Absolutely, I highly recommend that to anybody, because, and I think that's part of the reason why I'm a little down on the Marvel stuff. The Marvel theme park land is, number one, I've been to Galaxy's Edge and seen, just absolutely loved the whole entire experience. It's just so much fun. It's awesome. I think it's only getting better because now so many people have went and bought those legacy lightsabers, and they're doing, everybody's just it's kind of neat. At the end of the day, as the sun sets, you get that nice Florida sunsets, the lightsabers come out for the pictures, and people are having meetups and choreographing fights and stuff out there in front of the Falcon. It's kind of a neat thing to see. But
yeah, my son Jared and his roommate Colin are down there. Well, I think they've been down there this whole last week.
Yeah, they were just down there. I'd seen some Instagram posts and saw where they were at Epcot and Studios and stuff, I think. But yeah, I was following that too. So I'm curious, I don't know that he's really into Star Wars or anything, but
they both made their own lightsabers while they were down there.
Okay, they did.
FaceTime us the other night.
What color did he get? Purple
blade?
Yeah.
Purple blade? Or not sure?
I feel like it was.
Yeah.
Because there's not a pink blade, so it would have to be purple.
It's that is an awesome experience. I highly recommend it to anybody. We're gonna take a trip in late October. We have planned down to World in Florida, and we're gonna meet up with some family down there. We just found out, just unintentionally had booked it the same week, but then friend of show Russ and Sarah are gonna be down there with us, and so I'm gonna see if I can nudge him towards the getting some lightsabers so we can fight it out ourselves down there. I need to work on my saber twirls. I need to work on my moves down there before I get down there again, so I'm prepared.
I'll watch for you out in the yard.
Please record that for our
I got a good
our
vantage.
YouTube page needs some hits.
I got a good vantage point from my window. I can see if Cliff's out practicing.
Yeah. So that's all I've got. Oh no, it isn't. One other little quick tidbit. Don't know if you guys saw, but Bob Iger, outgoing now ex-CEO, but still chairman of the board of Walt Disney Company, is getting ready to leave the company. He has sold $98.7 million worth of shares in the company just here recently. So he's preparing to completely move on, getting rid of that stock, trying to diversify his portfolio. So that was a news story that happened, a big chunk of money there. So
wow, you could probably I could retire on $98 million. I think
I could build a few lightsabers on $98.7 million.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. What else?
Any big movies you've seen lately?
Movies.
Save Martha! Puny God.
I'm just a kid from Brooklyn. I'm Batman.
Kneel before Zeus! On the roof!
Said it yourself, bitch. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
So what's it gonna be, huh? Long sullen silence? Or mean comment? Go on.
You got me in a box here.
I'm sorry, no. It's
too far.
I don't know what that was.
Can you hear the click clacking?
Losing podcast.
They don't have that on. Maybe on the drug or depression episode.
Michael, what are you watching? What movies are you watching?
Oh, I watched Army of Darkness. Man. Oh my God.
Army of the Dead?
What the hell is the name of them? Yes, Army of the Dead. Jeez.
A memorable picture.
Yeah, it was hot purple or hot pink.
As Vegas was walled off, with the zombies left inside to haunt the abandoned city.
Mr. Ward, how would you like to make $50 million
on a warm summer's eve, on a train bound for nowhere? Met up with a gambler. We were both too tired to sleep, so we took turns of staring out the window at the darkness. Till boredom overtook us, and he began to speak. He said, "Son, I've made a life out of reading people's faces.
Think about everything we did, all those people we saved.
By the way they held their eyes.
Look what it got us.
If you don't mind my saying,
What if?
I can see you're out of ace.
What if just once
For a taste of your whiskey,
we did something just for us?
You ready to play? There's $200 million in the vault beneath the strip, with a 32-hour window to get it out. Find the safe. This should be a simple in and out.
No, I'm having a seizure, evidently.
You need to go to that other podcast for a while.
I need some mental health awareness. No,
we need a long-form discussion on mental health.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad of saying how much I dislike this movie. Well, I would just say meh, but because I have a Facebook friend that was actually one of the stunt zombies on that movie, and he shared a lot of it.
Wow, so maybe he can explain why the zombies like they were like the Jets and the Sharks. The zombies pranced. They jumped up on top of stuff and were like, like it was.
You not watched?
Huh?
Have you not watched Thriller?
Yeah, it was weird. It's a new take on zombies, whatever. It was an evolved zombie, but I don't know if they're trying to be like animalistic or what it was, but the way they kind of like sashayed around was just really weird for a zombie movie.
It was Las Vegas. They were performers, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you keep a little bit of humanity in your zombie form, don't you?
It was Zombie, the musical.
Yeah, yeah. They did like to jump on top of tables, so I would fit right in there.
So this was Zack Snyder's big Netflix action horror extravaganza, 2.5 hours plus zombie strangeness. I didn't hate it. I think Dawn of the Dead, the remake he did, is a terrific horror movie. I have nothing bad to say about that. So I was on board for another Zack Snyder zombie movie, and this is very different from that.
I feel like he wanted to progress the story of Zombie, but didn't have a writer to do it, to like give him some ideas. Can you explain to me? Here's plot hole number one.
No, probably not.
Yeah. Please explain to me why they had to cut the head off the zombie queen and not some other rando zombie. Like they had, and they also like he introduced like a class. Like there was regular zombies, and then there was a higher form of zombies. And I did find the hibernating thing that was probably cool. Like I did like that because of they degrade because of the hot sun, so they hibernate in cool places. Like I did think that was a cool touch.
Yeah, that was something different. Yeah, a waste of Garrett Dillahunt there as the creep who goes along with it. But the opening credits, they kind of basically told the whole story during the credits of how things devolved to this point. So it didn't waste time on the origin of it or the fall of Las Vegas. So it basically picks up. It's already a wasteland that's been walled off. And we have Dave Bautista has to go back in. He's hired to basically rob a casino to get there's untraceable cash hidden there. And if you can get it back out, that's a whole lot of money that no one else is going to go in looking for.
This movie, I just realized this movie should have been called Ocean -0.
I'm gonna do the math on that. Okay, no. But the thing people were most talking about was Tig Notaro, the comedian.
Yeah.
Who replaced Chris D'Elia? Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, please, yeah. Let's hear you say the last name.
Yeah. So we're not gonna say his name because he's been canceled and he's
yes,
out,
unfortunately.
He's out. So they had filmed a whole bunch, and they replaced this actor who had already done the whole thing with Tig Notaro on a green screen. And there's so many articles. She never even met Dave Bautista and had a bunch of scenes together. So knowing that, it was very obvious watching it, and I just kept watching. Oh, they have her standing at the edge of the crowd, or they have her standing here by herself, and they keep cutting back and forth. There's never a two-shot. So it was a little distracting knowing the behind-the-scenes stuff, but it was fairly seamless. I'm sure it was a ton of money to go in there and reshoot all those scenes, but he added something. She was a fan favorite for the movie.
I feel like Zack Snyder is a director that needs a director. Like, he has his vision, but he needs somebody to direct him at times. Does that make sense?
Where he's big enough that no one's going to tell him not to do something.
I feel like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie was just like a party. Like, hey, let's get together with a group of friends and let's shoot a zombie flick. Like that's
like a Sandler movie.
There was no character that like stood out. Like, and unfortunately, Tig was like probably the funniest thing about the whole movie. Like, she had some of the best lines where every other character was almost like the Left 4 Dead zombie game of, okay, which character are you playing?
Yeah, and you're not going to get a lot of deep character work. You know, they're just all going to get killed by zombies. But it reminded me kind of a throwback, almost like an 80s movie, where all the guys were huge buff dudes with giant weapons, and all the women were in like tank tops who like tied it off at their midriffs and were like, you know, sexy young ladies. So, like, it felt like a, you know, Predator or one of the, you know, like some, you know, cheesy 80s movie, which if that was the aesthetic he was going, I don't think he was doing that on purpose, but that's kind of what it ended up.
All the dudes had giant weapons.
And it even had,
I was going to say guns, but the one guy had like a circular saw, so.
Yeah, that was totally like out of a video game. Like, you had like, I was like, come on now. But they even had like the father-daughter dynamic in that, like, Dave's acting, man. Like, cause that girl actor, I forget her name, but she was on a show called Bitter. That was, I feel like it was on Showtime maybe, but it was really good. And she was
about a zombie who bit her.
No, I was actually about it was a restaurant, like a high class.
I believe
restaurant.
you. You're our Showtime guy.
But it was a really good show. I think it only lasted one season. But anyway, she was on it. That's what. But I felt like she did a better acting job than Batista.
It wasn't terrible. If you just want a fun action horror zombie movie, there's worse things you could watch. But I can explain this movie to you in one idea. I rewatched the trailer afterwards, and the trailer had the song "The Gambler" by Kenny Rogers, and they had like amped it up and like slowed it down, and like the drum beat, like when someone punched someone to the drum beat, and the trailer is excellent. And they used that song to perfect effect in Las Vegas. The movie had the song "You Love" from the Cranberries called "Zombie."
Oh, what a surprise. I'm so surprised.
To have the Cranberry song "Zombie" in a zombie movie singing about zombies, it was that subtlety is out the window. So maybe just watch the trailer.
That's probably the first thing they had. Yeah. They probably had the song and they said, "What movie could we make?"
Yeah. Zack Snyder's like, "Okay, slow it down. That's the movie. We'll just keep doing that."
Oh, I can't wait for the director's cut.
10 hours long.
Who just played a lullaby while Seth was yawning, and that just
it was my phone.
That happens sometimes when I yawn.
That was incredible. I seriously thought you had planned that because you were sick of talking about Zack Snyder.
Right.
I'm a little let down. That wasn't a plan.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I give something away about the end of that movie?
I feel like we've talked about it enough. Feel free.
Okay. So when a nuclear warhead is like dropped on an area and okay, you survive because you're in this steel cage or whatever, when you come out of it, wouldn't you have radiation poisoning and die pretty instantly?
Pretty much immediately, yeah.
Like, I was okay with the logic through the whole movie up to that point, and I'm just like...
Yeah, also, spoiler-ish, nothing any of them do matters. If you do the math at the beginning of the movie and the end, like, nothing they fought and died for, you know what I mean? Like, there was
Raiders of the Lost Ark?
A little bit. It was basically just...
The whole point of the movie was to carry the zombie virus, basically.
If you get in a 1950s refrigerator during a nuclear blast, you don't die from that either.
Yeah, it all comes back. Hey, speaking of movies that there's a big disaster. I watched a movie on HBO a few weeks ago. Greenland. It's one of those Gerard Butler movies, which I normally do not watch. I don't really watch. He always is in some crazy action movie.
Something is falling.
Some house is down. Something's down somewhere. Fallen things.
Mm-hmm.
I have not watched any of that.
His career trajectory, like he was poised to be a huge
He was
star,
300.
Yeah.
He made a movie with what is it? Katherine Heigl.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Well, anyway, this is on HBO Max, and if you just want a good set, just it's not Oscar worthy, but it's a good action movie. I mean, it's just basically it's a back to that Armageddon, Deep Impact era, where there is a world-ending catastrophe coming, and Gerard Butler has to save his family. And Morena,
you could do worse than Gerard Butler trying to save the world.
He's a perfect fit for this. And Morena Baccarin is his wife, or they're separated or whatever, and but I there's nothing else to say. I don't need to say anything else. You know what this is? The world's going to end. Gerard Butler has to save his family, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. I thought it was the best version of what it could be, I guess. It was nothing outstanding, but totally worth the watch. So, Greenland on HBO Max.
Well, along those lines were the movie when we broke the news. We broke the news of all the movies coming straight to HBO, and I said,
I remember when we were all over the internet.
Yeah, we decided on that. But we said there was a movie for each of us. There was a time travel movie for Seth. There was a In the Heights for Cliff. And the movie for me was the new one from Taylor Sheridan, creator of Yellowstone, Hell or High Water. Some really excellent things I really like. Those Who Wish Me Dead. This was the Angelina Jolie movie about smoke jumpers in the Montana wilderness. And these assassins are trying to kill a little boy who witnessed something he shouldn't have witnessed. So not only do you have assassins after you, but there's a forest fire raging out of control. And I thought it was going to be a crazy, over-the-top Yellowstone adventure, and it was all right. It wasn't anything.
That's what I heard.
Great, pretty good cast. Had John Bernthal, Nicholas Hoult, who's Beast as the young X-Men movies. And Aidan Gillen from Game of Thrones, Littlefinger.
Mm-hmm.
And it I don't know, it had some good action scenes. Angelina Jolie hasn't done a movie like this in a while, and it just kind of it reinforced the idea like forest fires are pretty terrifying. Mm-hmm. Like a wall of flame, 50 feet high, moving super fast. There's nowhere to go. There's no oxygen to breathe. Like that's a pretty good setting for a disaster movie, and it was shot pretty well.
Kurt Russell, baby, come on.
Sure.
Backdraft. Gotta watch out for those backdrafts.
But all of Montana is a backdraft.
Oh, even worse. But no Kurt Russell.
No Kurt Russell.
$5. Yeah, I heard that could have been good. I may check it out. I watched the movie you had talked about, Jordan. Bad Trip. If you haven't noticed by some of my things I said, I got that Netflix. I'm going to cancel it here in a few days because it's been about a month since I've had it. But I got caught up on a lot of stuff. But I watched Bad Trip. It was good. It was funny. We Nick and I watched it. And it was very enjoyable. That little hardcore candid camera. Right. Had that. Of course, after the credits at the end, where they're actually showing them confronting the people afterwards. was the best part. Just like, you just stood there. That guy was going to kill himself, or whatever, or she was going to, just like that was the best stuff. But
that's the Eric Andre movie.
Mm-hmm. It was funny. There was some good moments in it. Worth the watch.
Well, don't waste your time watching The Woman in the Window.
I will not. I had heard a bad review, and then you said it was bad, and I thought, I don't have to watch this.
I said it was more than bad. I said it's the worst movie I will watch this year.
Wow.
All right. See, it's the worst movie I won't watch this year.
This is Amy Adams, who we all like, I assume.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's not had a
good.
Not had a great track record recently. She's had a few bombs, but this is the Rear Window takeoff. She is traumatized and agoraphobic and won't leave her house. And we don't know why. We don't know what the trauma is until later in the movie. And she sees something she thinks she saw, but maybe didn't see. Who knows? But the cast, Gary Oldman, Julianne Moore, Brian Tyree Henry, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Anthony Mackie, Wyatt Russell, Falcon, and U.S. Agent cannot save this movie.
Wow.
It is written by a person, like, the dialogue is like no one has ever heard someone speak before.
Oh.
Like it had been run through Google Translate or something. The dialogue is weird and stilted. Like it was trying to be stylish or something. I don't know. But there's a decent twist that makes you go like, oh, okay. I didn't see that I didn't see that coming, but it's not enough to save the mess that it is.
So, you know what? Jordan's waving us off. He's like, no.
So if you want to watch a movie,
go to Greenland.
I was going to say, if you want to watch a movie about somebody staring out a window at their neighbors,
Rear Window. Don't try to tell me some other movie. It's Rear Window.
No.
Disturbia.
No. The classic.
Even that.
Shia LaBeouf, Disturbia.
Is that where you were going?
Yes. That's where I was going.
Sorry,
I like
your Disturbia thunder.
I like Disturbia. That's good. I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good movie.
Well, since I'm just gonna ruin this now. But anyway, on Netflix they did have the release of season 2 of Love, Death, and Robots. Have you guys talked about that at all?
No.
Did anyone watch season 1?
I liked season 1.
Jordan did.
Yeah. Have you watched the end of season 2 yet?
No, I haven't seen any season 2.
It's good. It's not. I feel like season 1 was phenomenal, and this is not as good. But there was a few that was. The very first one was pretty interesting. It had where it's like an old folks community where it had a robot that was like a vacuum cleaner, and it decided that it was going to go rogue, and so she was like kind of battling it, and
like a Roomba.
It was pretty well done.
It
was like a Roomba.
Yeah, a robot is like a Roomba.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, a robot. Yeah. So
season 1 was more hits than misses. So if it's even close to that quality, I'm on board.
There's some good stuff in there.
We also had more Borat, our number 1 film of the year. If you go back to our countdown, Borat subsequent movie film.
We did it.
So Prime added 3 new Borat specials.
I had no draw to watch any of that. Like I saw, I was like, nope.
Even for the number 1 movie of the year,
they were running commercials for it, which that's kind of what floored me. I was like, you're not even advertising that you have the movie. You're advertising that you have like the stuff that hit the floor.
Yeah. So the first one is called Borat. VHS cassette of material deemed sub-acceptable by Kazakhstan Ministry of Censorship and Circumcision. So that is 24 minutes of, quote, supplemental reportings retrieved from floor of stable containing editing machine. So it's just, I'm sure they filmed 1 million hours of footage. So this is just 24 extra minutes just behind this era, bonus material. And then the other one was Borat's American Lockdown. So this was just the scenes of him staying with the two guys, Jim and Jerry, in the house when the pandemic hit. If he went to those guys' house.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just 36 minutes of extra stuff just from that scene, because he stayed there like 5 days, I think. So it gave you a little more their relationship, how he ended up living there. And then the other one was Debunking Borat. So this was 6 different episodes, each around 7 minutes. So they're very, very short. But the idea was these Jim and Jerry guys were like conspiracy theorists. And they spent the whole lockdown on the internet, learning about what's really going on in the world. So each episode covers a different conspiracy that these guys talked about.
Where have I heard this idea before?
An award-winning podcast? No?
I'm talking about the upper left-hand corner.
Did they talk about the reptilians?
Now they did one about vaccine, microchips in the vaccine, one about mail-in ballots, one about George Soros, one about the Chinese origins of the virus, one about Hillary Clinton and the Pizzagate blood libel thing where she drinks the blood of children, and one about, I hadn't even heard this, the Bill Gates bricks conspiracy, where Bill Gates had been leaving piles of bricks in cities where there were Black Lives Matter protests.
I've heard that one.
So
Bill
people
Gates
would start
doing that.
Yeah, that was Bill Gates, because it tied in. They were it was like Acme Brick Company was owned by some subsidiary of Warren Buffett that Bill Gates had invested in some other arm of. So they tied somehow these bricks, and that was my biggest laugh of the whole thing when they asked Borat if he knew who Bill Gates was. He's like, yes, Bill Mini Gates, great success. He's like, no, he doesn't build gates, he builds computers. Build computers? It's like, no, he's like, no, it's Bill Gates. And then he's telling about these bricks. Like, oh, why is he not named Bill Bricks? But I don't know why that made me laugh the hardest of all this.
Because it's funny.
There it is. Yeah, that's good. But yeah, so it's basically these 6 episodes. They have world-class scientists and epidemiologists and sociologists and social media experts, and the smartest people in their field meeting with Jim and Jerry to tell them why these theories aren't right. And it accomplishes nothing. That no one convinces anyone of anything. And I thought, well, that's kind of a neat idea to make these, to confront these guys and have them, this is not true, and here's the evidence behind it. But it was really just kind of talking to the wall, and nothing was changed. So these 6 episodes it wasn't comedy. It was more educational, but it didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So
if you think facts and scientific evidence is going to change their opinion, then you're crazy.
But they had it just showed Jim and Jerry at the beginning, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And then it was 6 minutes of experts talking. So there wasn't even really a back and forth of why do you believe this? Where did you get this information? What makes you think you know more than these? There was no push and pull between it. It was just kind of a lecture. And it was oh, okay, well, that was... We're back where we started. Right at the beginning.
Incredible waste of time. So sounds like a lot like the stuff I put on some of the ends of the episodes of our podcast. All that talking in between the scenes.
Right.
So
did I tell you guys I watched last year Mythic Quest on Apple?
Yes. Yeah.
It's that guy. It's Charlie Day's show.
Mm-hmm.
What's the guy that's the main guy on Mythic Quest?
Rob McElhaney.
Okay. I've never really watched Always Sunny, but I feel like he's playing the same type of Always Sunny type character. He's very full of himself on this show anyway. But It's about a video game company, and he's the president, and he created a video game called Mythic Quest. And the first season was about a expansion, I believe, called Raven's Banquet. And it's a community kind of feeling show, which I was never a huge community fan. It either clicks with you or it doesn't. But this is a little different. I like it fine. It's a good show. But at one point during the first season, they had a standalone episode with Jake Johnson and Kristen Milioti, and it was just totally separate from the rest of the show, and was basically about the people that had been in the building before the video game company. It was good. Yeah. Well, this season we've just got to episode 6 came out this week today, I think, and I watched it, and it was great. And it was another standalone episode that stepped away from the normal hijinks of the show, which is a I won't say a great show. It's a good show. I enjoy it as a comedy. There's one girl, sorry I don't have her name here, but she is like she keeps jumping from being the assistant of like one boss to the next. She jumps around, and she's looking for like an alpha to be the assistant of, and she's so good at like whoever she's like that Hey Spike type character, and she talks shit about everybody else, except who she's, the like, I don't know. She just like implants herself onto the person she's helping, but she's a great character. But in this 6th episode, they stepped away. F. Murray Abraham is a character on the show. He's the writer for the video game, and whatever ridiculous storylines in this fantasy world, he's the writer of, and this takes a step back to show how he, back when he was a writer, 50 years ago, and how he started out. And from Silicon Valley, the guy that played Big Head, I don't know his name, but he plays a young F. Murray Abraham in this, and it is such a good episode of TV, like just showing him as a young sci-fi writer with some friends, and kind of rubbing shoulders with Isaac Asimov, and it's just a really excellent episode of television that really I'm glad they did this again. This one episode of the season that takes a step and does kind of tries to do something different. So if any of that sounds interesting, or if you just like a good TV comedy that with a little bit of an indie feel or whatever, or like some of that, those guys, the guy from Always Sunny does a good job, and they're all good. It's a good cast. Danny Pudi's on it also, but Mythic Quest season 2 is still good.
Hey, have you I know we've been talking about movies, but we started with Disney. Are you still on the Bad Batch watching that show? Or?
Yeah, I watched the episode
today. Yeah.
I'm not hearing anything. Like when it premiered, I saw some people talking about it, but I haven't heard anything from my normal web of influence.
It has a lot of episodes scheduled for the season. It runs into July weekly, and of course they're doing it weekly. It wasn't a big drop of episodes.
Right.
It's less serialized than I want. It's very just mission of the week with loose tie-ins to the overall story. Started out strong.
Yeah, it's faded a little bit. So
they keep trying
to, they keep trying to like throw in little references from, characters from the Clone Wars and stuff. But I feel like it's not giving me enough, or I don't know.
Well, last week they had the Rancor from Return of the Jedi.
Right.
It's always that. Hey, I recognize that reference.
But I mean, it's fine. But I just wondered if you kind of felt the same way I did on it. So
yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch through the whole season. I'm glad to be caught up on all those so I don't want to fall back and find out later it was good. So
right.
I'm just gonna follow through. I want to see how some of this is resolved, what they set up at the beginning, how it's resolved. I enjoyed the finally seeing, how these conscription of stormtroopers, how we went from clones to regular stormtroopers, and where they're kind of in that process, and so that's a neat thing to see. I want more Crossfire. I want to see this Crossfire storyline.
Yeah, definitely. It appears to have given us the origin of the black Death Troopers we saw in Rogue One. So
yeah, and I already am like cringing at the setup of Wrecker. His head hurts.
I know.
So at some point he's going to turn on him, and his chip will start happening, and he'll order 66 it up. But I have faith that there will be some things that make it worth watching.
In Filoni, we trust.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was trying to say.
Too bad it wasn't Order 86. Like 86, you're out of here.
Yeah, define that. I worked in restaurants for a long time. When you 86 something, that means it's off the menu. We don't have it anymore. It's gone.
That would have been great.
I would like anyone to find me where the origin of
that is.
I had if you recall a few months back, I had a sign in my yard.
Yeah.
That simply said 8645.
Yeah.
That many people drove by my house and just could not figure out what that was about.
Yeah.
But it's a military term.
Okay.
Okay, and it had to do with, oh gosh, it's been a while. The number 8 and 6 corresponded with the letters T and O that they used for throw out, I believe. So it became slang because when they would something about code, I don't remember if it was code breakers or just general radio guys, when they would talk about getting rid of something or throwing out, instead of saying it corresponded as like TO, which referenced as 8 and number 6, I believe.
Wow.
So,
that's
you ain't getting that kind of info in any of these other award-winning podcasts.
No. Wow, that was good stuff. I'm still trying to figure out how T and O go with 8 and 6. But
I just pulled up something that says there's many theories about the origin of the term, but none are certain.
This is not a long-form discussion.
Used by soda jerks. In 1933, in entertainment, the 1947 song Boogie Woogie Blue Plate by Louis Jordan and his Timpani 5 used hipster lingo, among which is 86 on the cherry pie.
Well, we just engage concerned citizens to participate in dialogue. How about that?
Okay. I believe it was coined in the 1920s or 1930s.
That's why I think you can prove your theory if you can find the code or whatever they were using and prove that T and O have something to do with 8 and 6.
It obviously it was. It's a phrase I've known obviously for a long time.
Oh yeah.
But I was surprised by how many people asked me what 86 meant when I had that sign in my yard. So
they haven't worked at a restaurant. That's the primary use is at restaurants.
Okay.
Now
the military term 86 originated during the Korean War, a reference to the F-86 fighter jet. When an F-86 shot down an enemy plane, it was 86. The United States also had a uniform code of military justice that has an Article 86, absence without leave, aka AWOL. The term was derived from military shorthand.
Well, that's like 2 other explanations that are military that do not go with what he said, and it's like 30 years after your explanation.
Yeah.
So
the internet's always right.
They'll find a way.
That's a mystery we may never know.
Wow. A new show came back this week. Season 2 of Nick and I loved the first season. I'll put love in quotes, but we really enjoyed the first season. It's on Fox. Lego Masters. Season 2 is back. It's just a bunch of really good people building Legos, teams of 2 doing contests to, like they get a whole day or a couple days to build some Lego. They have a room of just like 5 million Legos, and they build something, whatever the theme is that week. And it's amazing, some of the things they build. It was great. It's fun to watch if you like Legos, which we do. But it's hosted by Will Arnett, and he is pretty grating. That was the only thing I was not looking forward to is Will Arnett. More Will Arnett. I don't hate him, but I don't really like him as a host.
Mm-hmm. But he was Batman in the
of
Lego
fluff.
movie. I mean, come on.
That's why he's there.
Yeah,
I'm sure. But it's that's a bit much. But other than that, it's back. We're enjoying it.
He was on a talk show and was talking about the new season and was talking about how they're gonna blow stuff up even bigger this year. Like that was his main thing: is how do we break stuff? We're gonna have explosions. We're gonna have big, people knock stuff down and
it's so funny.
So that seemed to be like some people are interested in the intricate building, and then there's the others like, hey, how can we break it even more interesting?
That's exactly what I told Nick. I was like, Legos Masters is coming back. I said, I guarantee they try to do more of frustrating the builders by shaking things, banging things around, trying to make their stuff fall apart. But it's neat to watch some of the stuff that people can come up with in a short period of time. I mean, these are moving Legos. It's like things, they're intricate builds. It's all amazing. Anyway, it's back. It's good.
Lego just signed a deal with Skybound Comics, the Image imprint, to do Lego branded comic books.
Whoa.
Speaking of Fox, did you guys check out Housebroken, the new animated show?
Who's the best dog? I am.
Meet Honey.
I'm Honey. I'm passionate about working on myself. And peanut butter.
Certified pack leader.
Paint us an erotic word picture about one of your trips with Lindsay to, what do you call it?
Oh, Pound Town?
Yeah, take us there.
Certified good girl.
No, I'm just trying to shake the group out of their rut.
I'd like to shake something into my rut.
That's not girl talk.
That's not what your mom said last night.
Certified hottie detector.
Oh, coyote.
Whoa. Certified paw struck.
Wow. Oh, your paws. They are hands.
Certified freak 7 days a week.
Would it be okay if I sniffed your butt?
Yeah, okay. But make it quick.
Housebroken, May 31st on Fox.
Hey, I watched most of the stuff on, or at least give it a chance on the Fox animation, but that didn't look very good.
So you didn't watch it though?
No.
Oh, you got to go back and watch it. It's pretty funny. Like I was surprised. I thought
the whole the pet owner humor just doesn't strike me. I'm not a pet person.
I'm not either. I don't own any pets, but it was actually, I was surprised. It has a pretty all-star cast doing the voices of it. I'm not so sure that Will Arnett's not doing one of them, or maybe it's Bill Hader. One of them, but and then it has the off of Friends,
Gunter.
Anyway, yeah, Gunter. But
is this kind of like those Secret Life of Pets movies?
It kind of. It's basically they all get together and have therapy. and discuss their problems.
Seemed like a Family Guy version of Secret Life of Pets.
Yeah, but I actually thought it was entertaining. I laughed. I didn't think it was stupid. It even trying to think some of the different characters. But anyway, it's I would definitely recommend going back and trying it.
What is that on Fox?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I usually give those shows a at least a once through benefit of the doubt.
I give them a wide berth.
Yeah. Just because I love King of the Hill and The Simpsons.
Seth 86 is every fucking cartoon.
Yeah, 86 is.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that was the same with Christy. She wasn't interested in watching it. She's like, well, we might as well just check this out to see if we're gonna watch it or not. And we actually both laughed at it.
Well, how are you enjoying MODOK, Cliff, on Hulu?
I finished it. I enjoyed it very well. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say very much, but I enjoyed it.
So it's a very robot chicken looking, like stop motion animation. It's the Marvel villain with the big head and the chair, voiced by Patton Oswalt. So it's definitely a more absurd comedic take on the Marvel universe. But I only watched the first episode just again to give it a chance, and there were some deep cut references. Like Patton's a comic fan, and he's gonna throw in some. And I saw like Seth Green was one of the producers, like the guys who make Robot Chicken are big nerds. So there's going to be some references that the average MCU viewer probably isn't going to get. So I appreciated that, but I didn't know if I was going to stick around for the whole season.
I could have used more Melter. The Melter. Great character. Definitely I don't know, the whole I liked Patton Oswalt. I liked the MODOK character, his take on that and the angle they took with it. His family wore on me pretty quick.
I like that the one kid is like the mom, a human. The other one's
looks like him.
Don't say anything about it. Just how it is. How one of the kids.
That's just the way it is. Yeah.
I only watched the first couple episodes. I never got back to it because I wasn't blown away. But I might finish it sometime.
And I appreciated at the very end of it there was an ad for the comic. Like if you like this, the MODOK miniseries Patton Oswalt wrote is in stores now. I was like, that's rare to actually remind people that these are based on comic books.
Yeah.
And it's super adapted. I like that.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I like those references, they making a whole show about it is pretty good. Cliff, This Is Us. Season 5. We didn't talk about the whole season. Did you watch it, Michael?
No, I gave up when the mom was still supposedly alive.
Okay.
What?
Mandy Moore.
Oh, no.
Oh,
he's talking about Randall's birth mother.
Yes, Randall's birth mother. That's where I exited.
Randall, eat your corn sandwich.
I just want to pause a second. I've been watching Michael's hat this entire thing, and it looks like Marty McFly's hat from Back to the Future 2.
Where it keeps going.
Like he keeps leaning forward into the green screen, and it has weird coloration. So that's just something you can enjoy. For the patrons out there watching this video.
Is it worth $1? I don't know.
Michael's new lighting.
Anyway, they always, it's
that twist,
time travel-y stuff.
Yeah.
They stick it to you at the
they lead you one way and then just totally.
And I remember thinking at that moment at the beginning of the episode, I wasn't even looking for it, but I remember thinking, oh, that's kind of weird, this or that seemed, and then boom, like a sledgehammer at the end. They go for it. They're just like, It's like, yeah, here's where we've been going the whole season. Yep, that's not what's gonna happen.
So they also announced their season 6 next year.
Yeah, that's gonna be it.
It's gonna be the final season.
I think that's a great idea.
I'm okay with
get
that.
Get out while you're hot.
Yep. Change the title to "This Is It."
This is exactly.
But definitely, the ending of this season, definitely that last episode threw me for a loop a little bit, because I did not see that coming, and like you said, probably should have a little bit. They've hinted.
Well, they're running out of things because of certain things that they've shown in the future by each time.
Mm-hmm.
They've written themselves into a corner somewhat, so it's neat that they can still find ways that they haven't shown. It's like, okay, well, we can still mess with you here. It's like, yes, you can. That was a punch in the gut, and
that's for sure.
It was great.
So very likable characters, for the most part on that show. Like, no matter what, I'm always rooting for them. Always hoping for that happy ending, and yeah, then they pull that rug out from under me. So
whatever happened with the Star Wars toys? Did you get closure for that?
We may never.
No. That is, boy, if you only knew.
We may never. What a twist!
Really.
Anyway, yeah. If you liked Parenthood, I equate it to Parenthood. Like, if you liked Parenthood as just a family, like
generational,
generational, family show, that, and then with the added time travel stuff on top of it, you're gonna like this. It's got something for the guys too, I guess. What I'm saying, there's enough of that sci-fi thing to it, showing you things out of order. That every episode always has 2 or 3 different timelines going on at the same time. And you're just at this point, you don't even know. You don't even think about it. Of course,
we're just
of
along
course
for the
every
ride.
episode. Of course, it's always going to have 2 or 3 different timelines at least going, and it doesn't faze us at all. We're so used to it. We can keep up with exactly what's going on in those timelines.
Right. And they do within those different periods of time in the episode, they do a good job of showing you how it's all, the
they're doing it for a reason.
Yeah,
they're showing you these moments in time for a reason, how it plays out. What always at the end of an episode, you finally see what happened in that past timeline and how it's affecting what's happening in this timeline.
Right.
It's good. I think that they could go, as much as they always gut punch you and do that to us, I still think they could have went further.
Mm-hmm.
So there's things they could have went even further,
Yeah.
But it's still good. Highly recommend This Is Us. Jordan, you and I watched a show on Netflix, I believe, Master of None, season 3.
I wasn't even going to bring it up because Cliff hadn't gotten.
That's
to
okay.
It yet.
Go ahead.
He was a big fan of that.
I don't think you can really spoil it.
Yeah. There's nothing to spoil.
It's not that type of show. We loved the first 2 seasons. It was in our top 10 movies. Shows of the decade. Mm-hmm. We all 3 agreed, I believe. It was high on that list.
Yeah.
Aziz Ansari did the first 2 seasons he starred in, and had a big part in. There was a little controversy with him, and he stepped back. He's directed some of the 3rd season, but it's focusing more on some different characters that had smaller part in the earlier seasons. But it's only 5 episodes. And what'd you think of it, Jordan?
It's like we always say, it is enough to tell the story. Like 5 episodes is kind of a strange thing for Netflix. The shortest one is 21 minutes, and the longest one is 56 minutes. So it's not trying to squeeze extra stuff to pad out. So, you're just getting what they want to show you. So I appreciate that. I thought Aziz was a good director here for doing nothing flashy. Most of it is shot. He just sits the camera and there's just long takes of conversations. It seemed maybe a little bit improvisation. It just seemed like very long, static shots of just a life. These two women falling in love, having problems, just things happening. And I think my favorite episode of the first two seasons was the Thanksgiving episode. It was the flashback focusing on the Denise character and like her very religious grandma, coming out to her family on Thanksgiving. So I really liked her character. So I didn't mind watching this third season that was all about her. It was a little slow. There wasn't a whole lot that happened. It wasn't that funny even. There were a couple humorous bits, but it wasn't, laugh out loud comedy. It was way more of the dramatic side. But I liked the character and I enjoyed the series. But and you don't even have to have seen the first two. It doesn't tie really into anything to the first two if you just wanted to watch this one.
It really doesn't at all, really, other than the fact that they know Aziz from the first season. Lena Waithe and the girl that plays her wife is Naomi Aki, who was in Rise of Skywalker. She was Jaina.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you said, it's only as long as it needs to be. But then still some of what, like you said, those long static shots. It's like, do these scenes need to be this long?
But then, like the first episode, they're dancing, doing the laundry, and it goes on forever.
Yeah, that's a great scene. I like
but then later, she's doing the laundry by herself, and it's silent, and she's just folding towels where it seems like 5 minutes. And you're like, okay, this means more because of that.
Yeah.
But still, does it really mean that much? Do I have to keep watching her folding towels?
Yeah, it's a great. I think it's episode 3 or 4. I can't remember which one was a good showing the struggles of trying to become a parent. And I think that was powerful. Probably one of the better parts of the season. It was good. It's totally, if you liked first two seasons. I almost didn't watch the third season because I was such a fan of what Aziz was doing, but I'm glad I did watch this season overall. It's not that long. And if for nothing else, then I want to live in that house. Like that house was freaking amazing. I want that fireplace, but it's good.
I swear one of the teddy bears in that teddy bear room was one of the ones that's in the back room of the store. That giant teddy bear she sits on a stool back there. So.
Yeah,
I recognize that.
Yeah.
I found something in my notes. I watched this while I was still in quarantine. This was forever ago, but I've never heard anyone talk about it. But it was on AMC, so I'm sure it's on AMC Plus. I'm sure it's still streaming out there. It was called Soulmates, and it was on in the midst of 2020 where everyone was locked in their house. So I'm not sure why I didn't hear anyone mention this, but I thought it was pretty terrific. It was just 6 episodes long, and it's an anthology series. It's a little bit Black Mirror, but there's only one like sci-fi twist to it. So the idea is you can go take a test at this company and they can tell you with 100% certainty who your soulmate is. And if they have taken the test, they can match you up. If they haven't taken the test, they don't know.
Right.
So there's people who take the test and wait for their soulmate to take the test as well. So that's the idea. That's the concept. And then they do 6 different stories in this world. So the first episode is just basically that. It's Sarah Snook, and it's her deciding to take the test. She has a really happy marriage, she thinks. But, could she be happier? Maybe there's someone out there that's maybe a little better for her. So it's a pretty simple first episode, just to kind of get you on par. The second episode is David Costable, who is Gale from Breaking Bad or Flight of the Conchords. he is a college professor, and he uses it as an excuse to have an affair. So he takes the test, and he's like, well, I could step out on my wife, and he's like creepy, college professor. The third one is a couple with an open relationship. So they have very strict rules of, the woman can go out by herself, the man can go out by himself. But if you throw a third soulmate into there, is that, one of them has a soulmate. What are the jealousies and the things that are going to come from that? The fourth one has Bill Skarsgård, Pennywise from It. Mm-hmm. He gets a match. He is like an accountant in South America, and he seems super boring. And he's realizing, his whole life, he's very boring. So his soul, they're matching. And so he's in like a layover in Mexico and gets into this crazy adventure. And he has to decide, should I go with my soulmate, who might be a boring, safe life, or do I go to this crazy Mexican adventure? And probably my favorite one was the fifth episode. It has Charlie Heaton from the big brother from Stranger Things and New Mutants, and Malin Ackerman from Watchmen. They are in a support group for people whose matches have died. So he took the test, and he finds out he has true love, but they've died. So it's that idea of like, am I ever going to find someone I'm going to match with this way again? And they kind of come together, and they're like, you're perfect together. You should get together. But they have this grief that they know they'll never be the perfect match because they've lost that already. So it's really complicated stuff. And then the sixth one is Betsy Brandt from Breaking Bad. She matches with a guy who's a giant creep. And that's her kind of trying to figure out, what does that say about me? Is there something wrong with me? Why do I match with this guy I kind of hate? So it's a very adult sort of, it's sci-fi, but in the best sort of way of like taking that concept and doing very interesting, sophisticated adult type drama with that. So I liked all 6 episodes. I thought they were really strong. And I just realized I've had it in my notes for months, and I wanted to get some broadcast out there of what this show was.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting. It didn't get the best reviews, but it sounds good. That sounds very interesting. The only other things I would say I watched in the last couple months in the last month, since I got Netflix, I caught up with season 3 of Formula One, Drive to Survive, or whatever. They've been following those Formula One drivers the last 3 seasons, and it's just, you don't even have to care about racing. It's pretty riveting. They do an amazing job, and still great stuff. And the reality show, it's done around the world just like Big Brother or whatever, but it's one that Netflix is latched on to is The Circle. Season 2 of the US version was on there, and I enjoyed the first season, and this season was also good. The concept is they put a bunch of people, like 7 or 8 people in a apartment building. They're each in their own apartment. They can only talk online. Basically, they're just in their own circle of online. They can show one picture of themselves to start out with, and like a little profile statement, and they can have a limited number of private online conversations with each other or form little groups, and they do not have to put their own picture. They can catfish, and several of them do this season. And as people get eliminated, they bring other people in, and so it's really good. I know that I'm pretty sure Jesse watched this, but I don't think I ever heard what he thought of it. I'm curious, Jesse, what you thought of it.
Is this like a weekly release, or they drop them all at the same time?
I like the way they do it. They drop like 2 or 3 episodes one week, two or three. There's like maybe 10 episodes at the most. Drop a few more, and then they wait and drop the finale by itself, so people aren't getting spoiled. It's a good way to do it.
That seems like the drive for a lot of those shows are the water cooler, talking about it, chat room thing the next day. So that would be a hard thing to build with the Netflix model.
They do a good job of the way they do it. Just a few episodes, so you can kind of do a short little binge, short little binge, and then everybody watches the finale. But it was good. One woman went on there. She is Lance Bass's assistant. So she came on there and said she was Lance Bass. And it was totally possible. It was just believable enough that it could be Lance Bass, because some people are. One girl in the house is from a TV show. And, it's like you could possibly be who you say you are. And she knew a lot about Lance Bass. So she could speak for him, basically. And it's kind of amazing to, so woman goes in as her husband or boyfriend, and one, someone says they're much younger person, or just a lot of things like that. And just the complicated things, because people start to form like relationships, and then at the end they're going to realize that it's not who they thought they were talking to. In fact, two people may get eliminated and come back, and those two people are playing a different person together. It's good, and it's short. It's not very long, and it's a newer kind of reality show that is entertaining. That's all I got, guys.
I'm sorry, what?
Bye.
As always, I'm the illustrious Michael K. Easton.
I'm Lance Bass.
I just got catfish.
What? Prove it. Prove I'm not.
I have paid $1 a month. I can see this.
Which band am I in again?
Cliff Barnes.
Said bye forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, @gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, please sign up to be a patron through the Podbean app or our website, www.udownwithkpp.com, to receive special content and early access to some episodes. We are grateful to anyone that chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will always remain free, so please continue to like, comment, and share.